A 21-year-old man is dead today. Now, the facts presented by the family and eyewitnesses should be disturbing to all of us. Are we secure in our homes? And under what circumstances does the government have the authority to conduct armed raids? We'll discuss that next on the Constitution Study.
There's one thing you have to know wherever you make your stand. Came from a long through line of everyday Americans.
Hello there, everyday Americans. Paul Engel here with the Constitution Study, where we read and study the Constitution and we teach the rising generation to be free. I'm glad you could join me. As always, head over to that website, constitutionstudy.com, where you'll find out everything that's going on. You can sign up for the newsletter. I've got some news coming out about the book soon. You can have these episodes delivered directly to your inbox. You can find out how to share this information. And that's really, I want to thank those who are helping me by sharing these episodes, the videos, the articles, sharing the news, that are supporting me through buying my material or through donating to the cause. I really want to thank you because it's part of what allows me to continue to put on these episodes to get you this material. And I especially want to thank those that are not just spreading out the articles we have here, but that are helping me get news out about the book, which hopefully we'll be launching in the very near future. Now with that, let's get to today's article. I found an ABC News report about a Silver Spring, Maryland man who was shot and killed by police early in the morning of Thursday, March 12th. The Montgomery County Police Department sent a tactical unit to serve a high-risk search warrant on a Mr. Duncan Lemp at 4:30 that morning. Now, as is often the case, there are two sides to what happened next. From the police point of view, the police obtained a warrant to search Mr. Lemp's home, which he shared with his parents and brother. This was based on a complaint from the public. The complaint was that Mr. Lemp, although prohibited, was in possession of firearms. The warrant did not mention any imminent threat to law enforcement or to the public. And according to a news release from the police department, Mr. Lemp confronted and was shot by the police. Now, following the shooting, police detectives did find 3 rifles and 2 handguns in the home. The police department's news release stated that the facts and circumstances of the encounter are still under investigation. It also stated that the case will be reviewed by neighboring Howard County prosecutors under a pre-existing agreement about officer-involved shootings. Now, according to the family through their lawyer, Mr. Lemp was killed while he was asleep in his bedroom, and his girlfriend was wounded. The lawyer also stated that an eyewitness gave an account of the shooting that was, quote, completely contrary, close quote, to the police reports. The lawyer for the family said they believed the police fired gunshots, not flashbangs or other less than lethal projectiles, and they did so from outside the house. The family claims the police fired through the window of Mr. Lemp's bedroom, where he was asleep with his girlfriend. No one in the house heard any warnings or commands from the police before they opened fire. Now, this case brings up a lot of constitutional questions for me. The Fourth Amendment states, quote, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. My first question is, was the probable cause for the warrant supported by oath or affirmation? If a witness informs the police that a prohibited possessor is in possession of firearms, that is probable cause to search. However, a warrant can only be issued if that probable cause is supported by oath or affirmation. Now, the report does not detail who reported Mr. Lemp to the police. I don't see that as a problem per se, as long as that person is identified in the warrant application and made available to the family's lawyer. Which brings up my second question. According to the family lawyer, no one in the house had a criminal record. So why was Mr. Lemp prohibited from possessing a firearm? Could he be the victim of yet another unconstitutional and illegal law infringing on his right to keep and bear arms? Was that unconstitutional law used as an excuse to issue the warrant used by police to raid his home? And while we're at it, who requested this warrant be declared high risk, and what was their justification for it? If no one in the home has a criminal record, what made this search high risk? The news report states that social media accounts they believe belonged to Mr. Lemp visited sites frequented by, quote, militia members and other extremists. Was Mr. Lemp's freedom of association used to justify the ferocity of the search? And who determined that these groups were dangerous for ABC News? Yeah, it was the Anti-Defamation League, a group known to advocate for gun control legislation and warnings about all sorts of anti-government extremist groups. Could it be that the police were set up to overreact to this warrant? And lastly, what was the imminent threat that justified the use of lethal force by the police? A high-risk warrant does not give the police legal authority to shoot first and ask questions later. Now, a truly high-risk warrant may justify the use of force to enter and subdue. It may even justify serving the warrant in the middle of the night. But it does not relieve law enforcement of the requirement that there be an imminent threat of death or serious injury to themselves or an innocent bystander before they can use lethal force. And let's face it, if someone breaks into your house without announcing themselves, they really shouldn't be surprised to be confronted by an armed response. And if the witnesses were correct, and the police fired live rounds from outside the house while the people inside were asleep, then this looks less like a case of an overreacting police force and more like an assassination. This story, whatever the final circumstances, warrants concern from the public and demands a review of the laws and procedures used. Now, I see many questions that I think need to be answered. Was a warrant issued without a supporting oath or affirmation? Was the cause for the warrant, the illegal possession of a firearm, was it even valid? Was Mr. Lemp targeted either by a private individual or group because of his opinions or political interess? And lastly, what actual justification did the judge and the police have for so flagrantly endangering not only the person of interest, Mr. Lemp, but the others in the house as well? Now, nothing will bring Duncan Lemp back to his family. I doubt they will ever feel safe in their home again. I also doubt they'll trust law enforcement to use reasonable force in any future encounter they may have. In short, one life was taken, and at least 4 more have been permanently harmed by the actions of the legal system in Montgomery County, Maryland. Will the people of that county and the state of Maryland require a full, fair, and impartial investigation of the event? Will they demand that those who acted outside the law, including the constitutions of both Maryland and the United States, that they be held accountable? Will they look not just at Mr. Lemp or the police, but at the accuser and the judge as well? Most importantly, will they gather around the Lemp family and help them however they can? Will Americans stand up to what appears to be lethally bad actions by their government, investigating and punishing the actual criminals? Or will we simply pound our keyboards in frustration, at least until the next egregious event pops up on the news to distract us to something else? So what do you think, America? Does this news story disturb you? Is it because a young man is dead? Is it because people are accusing the police? Or is it because there seem to be serious questions about the Constitution, the rule of law in this county? Could it be that makes you question the rule of law in your own town, in your own county? Now, I'm not ready to place blame either at the feet of the police or of Mr. Lemp and his family, or the accuser or the judge. I don't know yet. My point is there needs to be more information. But we only get that information when we, the people, demand it. I hope to find out more information as the investigation goes along, and I hope there's a piece of information that was not covered that can kind of make this a little better. But I truly do feel for the Lemp family. At best, a son and a boyfriend was taken. At worst, one was taken illegally, illegitimately, and at the risk not only of Mr. Lemp, but of his family as well. See, recognizing these and the potential constitutional issues is part of what we do here at the Constitution Study. We want to read and study so that we know when rights are being violated, or at least red flags go off. We want to know how to defend and assert them. That's why I brought this particular article to your attention. Hopefully you'll continue your own investigation. If you have information, share it. I'd love to see it in the comments. If you have questions, put that in the comments as well. But most of all, I hope I got your attention. I hope it made you think. And I hope it was enough to bring you back next time here at the Constitution Study.
One thing you have to know wherever you make your stand came from a long through line of everyday